Okay, everybody, I'm back. Today, I'm going to lift a 21 Jeep Gladiator Mojave edition. Now, this thing's got it's already got an aggressive stance, but my customer wants a little bit more aggressive stance, and it's going to look good. But I want to show you the kit that we're using. We're using an AEV system, well, kit that he had went online and purchased. But no good literature out there, so we're going to see if we can kind of open it up for other people to check it out. Okay, here we go. This is an AEV 2.0 lift. You got your sway bar links, another sway bar links. You got your shock extenders, front and rear. You got bolt and hardware in the bag. Spacers, you got carrier bearing spacers, 3 of them. You got your front and rear bump stop blocks, good quality stuff. Check it out right here. This is good stuff right here. And you have your spring spacers. That's for your fronts, smaller diameter. The bigger ones for the rear spacers. Look at that. It's good quality stuff there. So that's an AEV system. Here is the part number. And some good looking stuff. So let's back away and let's check out the Jeep. This is a 2021 Jeep Gladiator Mojave. See right there, Mojave. Good looking Jeep, man. No lie. Man, fine specimen. Okay, here we go. Here's the front end. Stuff laid out on the floor. There's the Jeep. Now, let's recap real quick. Okay, so you have your spring spacers and your bump stop blocks, hardware for that, below it. And you got a sway bar link here. And then you got your shock extenders. Above it, you got the shock extender hardware and the small bolt that goes through it. There it is. So when you bolt this thing on, there's the hole for it. You'll bolt it up on the rear end. There's a hole provided on the front diff, not the rear. But you just put the bolt in after you put it on there and bolt it up. On the rear, there's no hole. You got to drill it. But here's the other side. Spring spacer, and there's what it looks like on the top. You put it up in the vehicle like that. Got the 2 locating pins. I'll show you where they're at on the Jeep here in a minute. So it just sits right there. And there's your other bump stop block. Of course, remember, smooth bottom down. That's how the bolt works. And let me show you something on the sway bar. That's your front end assembly. There are your flat spacers for your carrier bearing. I'll show you what the carrier bearing looks like. Alright, so that's what you're replacing on there. You take the factory bolts out, put the new ones in, use the new bolts because they're longer. It changes the pinion angles, vibrations. I'll show you here. There's 3 of them. Just stack them. There you go, 1, 2, 3. Move on to the rear. So the rear, you've got your bigger spring spacers, and you've got your blocks. Now, it's good quality block, but the offset holes, the wider of the pattern goes in the back. I'm going to grab it here. I'll show you. That's a quality block. It's roughly 2 inches. It's your bump stop. And you got your shock extenders, the hardware, and there's that little bolt again. That goes in between where the original shock went, so you won't collapse the bracket, the extender. There's the other side. There's your sway bar links. Now remember, you got new bolts and nuts for that on the rear. The front does not. You reuse the original front stuff. But some quality stuff. I'll turn around and there's the original on the rear sway bar link. Kind of long, but you take it off. That discards right there. That's all right, and that's what it looks like. Pretty nice stuff. Okay, I took off this link on this side here, from here to there. There's the hardware that you got to reuse with the link. But now this bolt over here will be kind of a bear to get to, as you can see where the nut is. If the bar is up, that's ride height, you can't get a socket in there. So if you save that to last, you pull it down, and then you get your impact like this, and now you've got room to put your impact on it. See? That's how you do it. Okay, here's where I'm at. Okay. Got to take the lower shock bolt out. Take it out, let the shock dangle. You need some stands under the car, under your Jeep. Of course, I've got a lift. Obviously, I picked it up like this, but you can do it with the floor jack. Pick it up far enough. Leave your sway bars off, your links. Leave them disconnected. That way, I mean, it'll still pivot, but it's best to leave them off. I've done mounted the new ones up top, so I ain't got to worry about it later, but check it out. I've done pulled the other side out, but sit here and just rotate it a little bit. And this side's the most trickiest because there's a track bar in the way. But spin it around. See how I'm doing it? This is the hard side, so that's why I'm showing the hard side, which is the passenger. Now, spin it around, and you should be able to pull it on out, see? Check it out. All right, remember, the hardware from your sway bars, this is why you got to reuse the nut off of the original sway bar, and then you got to use this bolt that goes through. And the reason why, you got a butterfly nut right here, and it goes down inside this cavity. That's why they don't give you hardware for the front sway bar, but they give it for the back. So anyway, but let's go around the other side. I've already got it off. So now we're getting ready to put the pockets on. All right, see? That one's out. This has a whole cavity. This one has a whole cavity for the spring to come out and go towards the inside, and it comes right out perfect. Now the other side, of course, is a little more difficult, but then you got to pop this thing off. That's that bottom ring. It comes off, and for the moment anyway, you got to bolt these little spacers on right here. You go like that. All right. Okay, here's where it gets a little difficult. Okay, with this type of suspension, of course, you got this cylinder right here. And if you look real careful, there's an indentation right there. And then there's an indentation right there. Now, what you're trying to do is you got to locate this. See the 2 ears? You got to locate that up inside here. Look at the logo. See the logo? Logo's facing out, and you'll be fine. But just put it on there and it locates it right there. But holding it up there and getting the spring in the cavity, what I'm going to do is put the spring in. I'm going to put the spring in the cavity along with the block. Put the block in, and then I'll worry about getting the nut underneath here after I get it all together. Okay, let's recap. Here's the Jeep. Now those brackets that I had on the floor laid out, well, come to find out that the longer ones were actually for the back, so I had to switch them around. But look right here, is how the brackets go. And then you got to put a bolt right here. All right, you got to loosen up this, take this bracket off so all that will hang loose. And there's the pockets with the springs. Remember, label out. And there's the snubber here in the front. See it? Here's the new links. You know, they bolt in. Like I said, you got to reuse the hardware on this one because this is how they make it from the factory. So they don't give you bolts for that. Let's go around here. More links. There's a zip tie right here you'll just want to take it off and discard it, and then get another zip tie and pull it tight and pull that boot off, because you got to pull this boot off right here, pull it off, able to slide the sleeve up, and then you got to put that back on. It'll kind of hold it in place for you while you're doing it. Not a big deal. There's that bracket again, and then here's the shocks. All right, so, and then you go under it, you look at there's the stacked 3 shims for the carrier bearing for the drive shaft. All right, and here's the rear bracket. Of course, you got a bolt. Now back here, you got to drill this hole. There is no hole here on the original shock bracket. So this one you got to drill out. I always start with a 1/8 pilot and then go up to the 13/32 that they want you to go to. The front already had a hole there, so. But now these holes here, you got to ream them to bolt that block on. Now remember me, I was saying something about the orientation. If you look at the block, it's designed to go one way. And you can tell by the shoulder here. It sits more level on there, and there's the pocket right there in the back. And they got a little ear, a little tit on them that, you know, locates those as well. And here's the new links. Here's the new links. Now back here, they gave you a new nut, a new bolt. It's a wider link. But we're gonna put the tires back on it, set her back on the ground, and let everybody check it out. But that's what she looks like. That is a Jeep Gladiator Mojave series. Of course, it's a jewel. Really nice one. This guy, I hope he's gonna like this 2-inch lift, because that's what this thing, remember, it is an AEV 2-inch lift. It's a pretty nice lift. Okay, everybody, here's what it looks. Got all the 4 tires on it. She's up on the ground. We just took a muscular Jeep and gave it more muscle. Look at this thing. Tell me that ain't sexy. And who would have thought just 2 inches would give it that much aggression? Super clean, gets the job done, got a lot of clearance. What do you think about that thing? It is a 2021. You just gotta love these Jeep trucks. Well, hopefully that's some information that will help you get started if you're not into reading instructions and all that stuff. I mean, I've got to be, because I got to have torque specs and location of bolts and stuff like that. But if you want kind of a fast track, get busy, and get down nitty gritty, hopefully this video will help you. But just remember, I'm an honest man trying to run an honest business. Thanks.